111 is what West Indies could manage. 3 wickets on the day going to Umesh Yadav. We ended up with figures of 6 for 88, and then India 80 for 1 in just 16 overs. Prithvi Shaw, after that 100 we saw in Rajkot, is 52 not out at the moment. With me, Ajit Agarkar and Courtney Walsh. Ajit, you said it really well that you must judge a pitch once both teams have batted. Now are we seeing the true colours of this particular?
Yeah, looks a great surface. Again, KL Rahul missing out, must be kicking himself. But West Indies came out with the right intent, in the mind, aggressive intent to maybe go after. Just the execution wasn't great. Let Prithvi off, a few loose balls. And once he gets off, he is going to play his shots. They couldn't really pull it back. Holder's the only guy who's managed to pull or get some sort of control. But Prithvi Shaw just, some cracking shots. For someone who's playing his second innings in Test cricket, must be very easy for him at the moment, Test cricket, or feel like it. Anyway, just played another cracking innings. West Indies, I think, very guilty of letting India score as quickly as they have.
Alright, we'll run a disclaimer for all of you who love T20 cricket. Test cricket isn't easy, even if Prithvi Shaw makes you believe that. Okay, we'll talk about the West Indies bowling as well as the Indian batting a little later. Let's start as the day started with the Windies coming out to bat. Courtney, I'll come to you. We're expecting what, about 50, 60 runs maybe West Indies could have added. That wasn't to be, just 15. Disappointed there.
Yeah, very disappointed. And they would be as well. They gave India that momentum. By being bowled out so quickly. Obviously, you got to give credit to Yadav for the way he bowled and the way he kept running in. But from a West Indian point of view, disappointed because you were hoping to get at least another 30, 40 runs more on the board, which would have kept India in the field a little longer, taking that momentum away from them. But with India wrapping things up so early, the momentum swung with them. So, credit must be given to the young fast bowler for the way he ran in on that sort of surface, because I still think it was a good batting surface. But he produced some duties, got wickets, and West Indies didn't get that extra cushion of runs that I was hoping for.
Okay, Umesh bowled really well, but Courtney, did you get a feeling Roston was happy getting to that 100, the way he got out as well?
No, I think he was happy to get to the 100, but I don't think, you got to give credit to the bowler. He probably was batting with the tail, so he probably got caught in two minds. And should he attack, should he still defend, or should he play? I don't think he sort of got careless because he got to the 100. I think he wanted to be there at the end to try to get West Indies over the line at 350. But sometimes in these situations, you're not sure if you're to attack the bowling or if you're just to defend or bat normal. And I think he probably got caught in two minds, and unfortunately he got out.
Well, that's the question I wanted to ask you. The two reasons why you felt that he was satisfied getting to the 100. One, wasn't attacking that much, Roston, and the other, didn't mind getting off the strike and allowed the tailenders to bat.
Yeah, maybe Walken, he sort of trusts his batting. We don't know, haven't seen much of him. I'm sure he was satisfied getting 100. It was a really good 100. Maybe a little lapse. Maybe Umesh just getting the line right. Yesterday he was a little bit leg side-ish, even when the length was right. It was good length, good line, just maybe jack back in a little bit. But I think Chase has had problem with those sorts of lines against fast bowling when it's been straight and maybe coming back a little bit. Good piece of bowling. Yeah, West Indies really needed him to sort of kick on from there on, because once they lost Bishu, he was the one guy who needed to get them to 350. I don't know, with the way Indian innings has gone, whether it would have mattered, having scored 80 in 16 overs.
Sure.
But it would have given them a few more runs to play with.
All right, Courtney, sorry, you wanted to make a point.
No, I was going to make a point that he trusts his partner. I think they both play for the same team in Barbados. So I think he trusted Warwickon, and that's probably why he got caught in two minds. Good delivery. The ball pitched online, did a little bit. He played a little bit on the outside of it, and it came through the gate. And sometimes we don't give the bowlers credit for sticking to that basic, hitting the right length. And Yadav did that. He was more consistent with it today, and he got one through the gate.
Okay,
that was a good delivery.
Right. Courtney, let's talk about Umesh Yadav and his performance here. Now that we're taking a look at the entire track, it seems very benign at the moment. Not much on offer as far as the bowlers are concerned. What did you make of someone then, a fast bowler at that, picking up 6 wickets on a track such as this?
tremendous effort. I mean, he was one shot. His other fast bowling partner breakdown after 10 balls. He was on his own. The captain, as I said yesterday, kept giving him the ball to break partnerships, and he did answer that. I mean, a lot of people were saying he was expensive. He's not running in. His percentage is not good. Sometimes you have to look at the context of the game, and he was on his own. He kept running in. He kept. I mean, as I said, he probably got a wicket at Jason on the leg side, but it was still a quick delivery. You kept running and kept asking good questions. And sometimes in these conditions, you can overdrive. And I think in one or two of his spells, he wanted to get the wicket so badly that he was probably putting in too much effort. But you can't fault a fast bowler for that. He gave it everything he had. And I think he's got his just reward. Tremendous to see on such a flat wicket, a fast bowler getting 6 wickets. I mean, you can't have someone like that as a captain and from a team point of view. So I think his effort is what has got India in the position they are in right now.
I'm looking at his figures and also listening to his comments. Umesh is after day one saying he's not too happy with the SG ball. He should be. He's picked up 6 wickets. What would he do?
Yeah, I think it's an epidemic. I don't know what's with the ball. I think India's been winning enough at home. I'm not sure why they're complaining. Maybe there is I'm not playing at the moment, so I don't know. There is a reason to complain. It's getting soft, but it's just gone on for too long. This ball conversation. The ball swung around this morning for him. He got his lines better than yesterday. Look, he picked up 6 wickets. I don't think he's going to say that today evening if he comes for the press conference.
Okay, let's talk about the Windies bowling effort. Great performance there by Umesh Yadav, but lacking there. What do you make of the way the Windies came out? Holder, much was expected out of him, Courtney, but then began well, and then we saw them string the ball all over.
Yeah, I think it was far too inconsistent. Too many boundary balls, too many easy scoring shots or opportunities. Maybe they came out a bit aggressive, but you still got to have a plan to keep runs down, and they allowed India to score too freely in such a short session. If the wicket is doing something and you expect to get wickets and they were taking chances, fine. But they scored too freely, too quickly. And because of that, they've got the momentum as well. I mean, 18 that session to me is far too many runs. So they've got to find a way of pulling it back.
Okay, just one quick word, Courtney. That over in particular about Gabriel, I'll talk about. We saw him pepper Prithvi Shaw with a couple of short pitch deliveries, then bowled a loose one there. Would you have liked to have seen Gabriel continue with that particular tactic for at least an over or two even after that?
Yes, I mean, if that was the plan, then you got to stick with it and try to make sure that you try to rough him up or show some aggression. And I think that was a good plan to try with. And you should continue with just a little longer to see what happened. And that you can make room for that, because if the batsman score runs off it and you're trying to get him out, you can then compensate for that by coming back to the basics. So I didn't have any problem with him trying to be aggressive and trying to get him out, because we know if he can get Prithvi out, then it's a big wicket, because he's one of the informed batsmen at 100 debut, so you want to try to get him out as quickly as you can. So I had no issues with him trying to get at him and try to rough him up or try to be aggressive. I think that was good thinking on his part. It didn't pay off. He could have continued a little longer to try to see what he could make of it and then go back to basic after.
Right, Ajit, the only part that we could see Prithvi, he's not looked uncomfortable at all, but the only time where he was a little circumspect was the time that they peppered him with a bit of short deliveries, but didn't persist.
Yeah, just in that first over. Yeah, took him off after 3 overs. 100% agree with Courtney. The plan was good, wasn't executed properly or for long enough, unfortunately for the West Indies. And then when you bring on a left-arm spinner, he's bowled 6 overs for almost 30 runs. That's just making life too easy for Indians when the ball is not spinning. If there was a bit more, I thought he might try Bishu at this point, because his spinner might get something out of it a bit more than the finger spinner. But I guess he wanted some control back. But I think Holders provided them that. They're not just the wicket, but just 20 runs of his 7 overs.
Yes.
But he's got to attack with Gabriel, because he's the guy who's going to get wickets for you. Even if he goes for a few, he's got to trust him a bit more than 2 and 3 over spells, even if he gives a few.
All right, we've already seen 16 overs, Courtney. Ajit makes a point about no Bishu up until now. Could have bowled him an over or two before lunch.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the wrist spinner bowl over or two just before lunch, because if he's gonna get anything from it, it would sort of give an idea. But not only that, I think the batsman going into lunch would be a bit tentative, so would have been an ideal time to give him a go. And who knows, you might be able to pick your wicket or two. So, yeah, I was expecting them to get at least 1 or 2 overs before the break.
Okay, now looking at the Indian opening partnership, I'm just looking at the difference of runs. You know, Prithvi Shaw not out there for 50 odd, and then you had KL Rahul for 4. But the difference, not just in runs, the difference was in the mindset, would you say also? Whatever you saw.
Yeah, it's a strange one with KL Rahul, really. I mean, okay, he's had a tough tour of England, but that last innings he played in England was 149.
Yeah.
So to say he's in a bad mind space, it's a strange one. I mean, obviously you can see he's not confident enough. He is worried about getting out, and you know, that's why the tentativeness has creeped into his batting today. Obviously tried to, you know, put his foot a lot straighter than he has been, because he's been getting out to ball coming in. That's not helped either. You know, in that tentativeness to wanting to leave or play the ball has eventually played on to the stumps. So yeah, you want to say he's not confident, but then you say 2 innings back he's got 149 in Test cricket in probably more difficult conditions. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the mind. You can clearly see that, and yeah, it's not a easy situation to be in. I mean, fortunately he has the support of the team management or the captain.
Yeah.
But you know, it's 30 odd tests for him now. It's not a very young career either. So he's you know, he'd be hoping he gets another crack in this test match.
Okay, Courtney, you saw KL Rahul, the 25 balls that he lasted on the crease, and then you had a youngster playing only his second test match on the other end, but the difference between the two was chalk and cheese, would you say?
Well, it's easy to say that from this distance, but I think the difference between it was his confidence. The youngster just came off 100 in his last test match, so he's bubbling with a hair of confidence. Rahul is struggling a little bit, and once you're struggling, you're going to be tentative, and you could see that he's been tentative. I don't doubt his ability as a player. You know, he's a good player. He will be back. All players go through this phase at some point in time in their career. Maybe it's best it's happening for him now so he can get it sorted. But I don't think it's a case that he's not a good enough player. He's just struggling for runs. Form is down, confidence is low, so he's very tentative. On the other hand, Shaw stroking the ball well in the form of his life probably. Youth, exuberant, nothing to fear, and he's showing that. I think it was good the way he played because he kind of take a little bit of the pressure off Rahul for a little bit. But you know, Rahul's still struggling, and when a batsman is struggling, it's the best time to bowl at him.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfair to compare the two anyway.
Yeah.
The guy is playing his second test, like Courtney says, no fear really, you know, and the more you play, the more there are expectations, and that's when you probably judge a player a little bit more. I think Rahul needs some runs though, desperately.
Yeah.
You know, there are no more tests before India goes to Australia, unfortunately. Maybe get some first class cricket, who knows, tries and sort some things out more in his head. It's just a confidence thing at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to throw a question that's come on our Facebook page as well. Wants to know that Murli Vijay, is he now on the verge of making a comeback with Rahul in the form that he is?
Well, in my opinion, he was very harshly dealt with for whatever reasons. I couldn't believe they sent him back home after 2 tests in England, when every opener, whether it's an English opener or Indian opener, was failing or tough conditions to bat. So I couldn't believe they sent him back. Yeah, I hope they take him to Australia. I think his record over the last, maybe not the last 12 months or so, but before that, overseas for India has been better than any of the other openers. And he's got some runs in county cricket as well, which must have helped his confidence. So yeah, I hope they take him because you need some experience. Because at the moment, Rahul, with his kind of form or his confidence, is your most experienced opener. Yeah, I hope they bring Murli Vijay back. That's just my opinion.
How would you handle KL Rahul now with Australia in mind? Because this could be effectively the last inning before that Australia tour.
I'm not sure actually, to be honest. I mean, there was talk of Mayank Agarwal being given an opportunity in this test. That's not happened, so you don't quite know how he's at international level. Again, you know, you can see the obvious talent when Rahul bats or when he gets runs. So you would, as a team management, you'd want to persist with him as long as you can. So I can't imagine them not.
You'd take him?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, he's got 100 in Australia before as well. The first time he batted there. So, but I think they'll need some runs, or he'll need some runs just to go on that tour a bit more confident.
Okay, one final thought, Courtney, coming to you now. It seems like an uphill task now for the Windies bowlers. 80 for 1, India at the moment, and the 2 batsmen on the crease looking good as well. What would you like to see from the West Indies?
a more disciplined approach when they come back out after lunch. Be more consistent in the right areas. Let India work a lot harder for the runs. I mean, that session, things can happen where it got away. They came out with a bit of aggression. They, were trying to get wickets and stuff, so they probably weren't focused or as focused as they can be or wanted to be. I'm expecting to see a much better approach, more discipline, try to hit the right areas, slow the stem or runs down, and try to pick a wicket here or there. And if they do that, they can get back into it by, not letting India score too quickly. So I expect to see a more disciplined approach after lunch.
All right, we'll wait and see if that happens for the Windies or not. Courtney Walsh, Ajit Agarkar, thanks so much for joining us. 300 plus is what West Indies got, and it looked really, really good for them going into this particular test match. But then in just one session, you've got India really cut down that lead that West Indies had in the first innings down to just 231 runs, and they still have 9 wickets in hand. So an exciting session coming up. We'll see you at tea time.